just hours before Trump's speech even aired, some huge news broke that tells you everything you need to know about the state of the Democrat Party heading into 2026. Senator John Fetterman, from my own backyard in Pennsylvania, has come out and declared he is indeed going to leave the Democrat Party the moment it officially becomes the anti-Israel party, calling it his personal non-negotiable red line. It's the first time that Fetterman has affirmed that he is indeed seriously considering leaving the party. Now, this didn't come out of nowhere. It came just one day after over 100 House Democrats voted for a Thomas Massie-sponsored measure to block $3.3 billion in aid to Israel. Now, that's nearly half the entire House Democratic caucus. And keep in mind, the issue isn't whether blocking that money is a good thing or a bad thing. That's actually a whole separate debate. The issue is the political realignment within the Democrat Party, which used to be staunchly pro-Israel, given that the vast majority of Jews in America are Democrats, and how that realignment is now redefining party loyalties among some of their politicians. And Fetterman is watching his own party's center of gravity shift on Israel in real time, and he is, for the very first time, drawing a red line in the sand publicly, saying that that would indeed be the catalyst for him to leave the Democrat Party. And Fetterman didn't stop there. He floated an even sharper piece of political math. This is fascinating. He said that if Democrats manage to flip 4 Senate seats in the midterms and reach a near 51-seat majority, he said, watch what I do. He is literally threatening the Democrats. Guess what, guys? If you're like at 50-50, or even if you're at 51-49, guess what? I'll switch. And I'll make it 50-50, and JD will be the tiebreaker. That was a not so subtle signal that his own leverage and his own willingness to break ranks entirely only grows from here. It does not shrink. He's literally holding the Democrats hostage to the midterms. Now, of course, Fetterman's already infuriated the progressive wing by his vociferous opposition to former Senate candidate Graham Plattner in Maine. He consistently refers to him as the accused rapist and the guy with the Nazi tattoo, even after Plattner's campaign imploded. I mean, he has no problem kicking a man while he's down. And Fetterman's also publicly demanded that Bernie Sanders apologize for ever backing him. He actually excoriates the Bernie Sanders wing of the party. And then he did the unthinkable. He actually formed, you probably heard about this, he formed a rather unusual bipartisan fundraising committee with his fellow Pennsylvania Republican Senator Dave McCormick. Now, that obviously fueled ongoing speculation about a party switch coming in the very near future, certainly before 2028. I would argue that that switch is inevitable. A new Quinnipiac poll shows barely 19% approval for Fetterman among Pennsylvania Democrats. 19%. A super majority believe he should leave. They should knock him out of the party. And Democrat Representative Brendan Boyle has publicly said Fetterman needs to go, branding him outright as Trump's favorite Democrat. At the very same time, a vast majority of Pennsylvania Republicans, actually a supermajority, love him. So you don't have to be a genius to figure out, given that he's up for re-election in 2028, you don't have to be a genius to figure out where this is going to go. But the key here is that this Fetterman threat is but the latest chapter in the catastrophic civil war that's breaking the Democrat Party apart. It's a civil war between the more old-time establishment Democrats versus the rise of the radical Mamdani Marxist progressives that we see in the form of Plattner and Sanders and AOC. And all you got to do is listen to Democrat strategist James Carville out of Louisiana, James Carville, the man who built Bill Clinton's 1992 presidential victory, the architect of modern Democrat politics. He is openly stating that if the Democrats go the way of the progressive Marxists, it will cease to be a viable national party as it ought. Carville is openly stating this. He thinks that if the party goes the way of the Mamdanis and the AOCs and the Rashida Tlaibs and the Ilhan Omars, it should implode. It should fall apart. He, like Fetterman, doesn't want to have anything to do with this new radical far-left cultural Marxist third worldist movement that's taking over the Democrat Party in so many American cities as we speak. The Guardian actually reported that the party's old guard, again, like people like Bill Maher and like Carville himself, they're abandoning the, quote, blue no matter who banner, and they're pushing for a more formal break with their progressive wing. Carville has since escalated things even further. He's warning that the socialist victories may signal the end of the two-party system. He said he cannot see a future where two parties dominate American politics the way they have for the past century if these progressive Marxists, third worldists, end up taking over the Democrat Party, meaning that it's the Democrats who are going to split. It's the Democrats who will be consigned to a permanent minority status. Now, again, if you've been with this channel for a while now, and if not, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. But if you've been with us for a while, you know that we've talked often about the deleterious political effects of woke cultural Marxist movements and politicians on the Democrat Party itself. The radical communist politics actually splits the left. So if you ask, again, we talk about this all the time, if you ask a group of leftists, do you support Mamdani? Do you support, BLM? Do you support the Democrat Socialists? Do you support trans athletes in women's sports? Take whatever woke issue, politician, movement, whatever. When you ask the left, do you support this? Half the left will say, yeah, man, I'm all for it. You bet. And you're a racist if you don't, blah, blah, blah. But the other half, the Bill Maher half, the James Carville half, they're going to say, heck no. I don't want to have anything to do with that. Keep in mind, remember, Elon Musk voted for Biden in 2020. He was a Democrat. He was part of this wing that ended up getting excommunicated by the progressive Marxists. So what we have to understand is that the woke left actually splits the left, but that's just half of the equation. Because while cultural Marxist wokeness is splitting the left, at the same time, what is it doing for the right? If you ask anyone on the right, do they support Mamdani and Plattner and AOC and any woke issue and BLM? What are they going to say? Absolutely not. And how many on the right are going to say that? It's virtually 100%. So that's the political suicide that the socialist Democrats, the cultural Marxists, are playing out here. They are splitting the left and uniting the right. In other words, they are guaranteeing a political environment where more people will always come out and vote against them than vote for them, for the exception of these enclaves, these urban enclaves. But even there, we're seeing it. So Seattle's Marxist mayor, what's her name? Katie, I'm forgetting, Crazy Katie, I call her. Crazy Katie won her election by less than 1% of the vote in a place where a Republican's not even running. It's just two Democrats. But it split the left 50-50, basically, and she just came out a little bit on top. Same with Mamdani. Mamdani had a very, very small margin of victory. And so now to bring this full circle with what Trump did last night, at the rise of anti-Israel Marxism is splitting the Democrat Party, as evidenced of late by John Fetterman's threats to leave the party. If that's the case, if that's progressive Marxism is splitting the Democrats, what's the fight for election integrity doing for the Republicans? Every single poll out there shows that nothing unites the Republican Party more than a fight for election integrity. The vast majority of Republicans believe 2020 was stolen. Right or wrong, that's just, I'm being descriptive, not prescriptive. And they want that rectified. They want justice. They never want that to happen again. And so what Trump really did last night, whether the legacy media likes it or not, as much as they close their eyes and plug their ears, it doesn't matter. What he really did last night is he provided the evidence needed to get the SAVE Act over the finish line, precisely because of how he brought the entire party together, at least when it comes to the rank and file. Yes, you're going to still have your Lisa Murkowski's and your Tom Tillis's. They're irrelevant. They're gone. Tillis is gone as of January of next year, and Lisa Murkowski will be gone in 28. But what Trump did besides that is he unified Republicans, particularly the rank and file, all the while the Democrats are fracturing more and more every single day. That's the real magic of what happened last night. That's the real achievement. That's what made that address to the nation so important. Trump's speech didn't just expose alleged vulnerabilities in America's voting infrastructure. It exposed, almost as a side effect, the discipline gap between the two parties heading into the most consequential midterm election cycle in a generation. One side is organized and united around a shared cause. The other side is fracturing from the inside out in full public view, with its own members using words like traitor against each other. And that contrast, more than any single declassified document, more than any single cable news meltdown, may end up being the real lasting story of this entire week.